Megan Hicks of I Run Far, and I'm with Diego Pazos, who was the second place finisher, the 2019 Madeira Island Ultra-Trail. Congratulations, Diego. You had a heck of a race.
Thanks, Megan. Hi, everybody. Yeah, so yeah, it was kind of a perfect race for me. It was very nice.
Do you think it was a perfect race?
You can always do better, I think, but I think it was quite what I was planning in my head, and I could manage the race the way I wanted. So for that, it was perfect. Then some parts I lost a bit of time, where you can always improve, I think.
Let's talk about the race a little bit. Early in the race, like for the first maybe 15 kilometers, you were right there at the front sort of with the leaders, and then you kind of dropped back a little bit and maybe chilled out for a lot of kilometers, like maybe until you were reaching the high point of the race, 60 or 70 kilometers in. Was that all intentional on your part?
At the beginning, we were a pack.
Okay.
Actually, we were 20 together.
It was 20 guys or 18 men.
Yeah,
or
it
something.
was a round of observation, I think, more like something like that. So actually, if I was first or 20th, it was the same.
Matter.
It didn't matter.
Yeah.
So sometimes I was in the front, leading, putting a rhythm to see how the other runners were reacting, and sometimes somebody else was doing that. So I think the first 20-25K, it was not really representative of the race. Then the second climb, team went in the front, and Francois decided to follow, and they started to go fast in the second climb to Estanquinhos.
Okay.
And then 3 or 4 runners wanted to go with them.
Okay.
So I didn't want to go at that moment. It was too early for me in the race. I prefer to stay calm during the first part of the night and to really enter in my bubble. So I let 6 or 7 runners in the front, and I was in the second pack.
Yeah.
And in a small group where I found myself very comfortable, and I wanted to manage the first part of the race like that. So it was intentional. It was intentional in that sense.
What was the night like on this course? It's so interesting because you change altitude so much. You were going into the weather, like up into the fog and back out again, down to where it was a bit warmer. Tell me what the night felt like. Yeah,
when we were going up, it was quite good because we were, hidden in the trees, so it was not so cold. Temperature was good, but when we were reaching the top, always it was very windy, and sometimes it was not raining, but kind of wet weather.
Okay.
I don't know how you say in English, but kind of brume, we say it in French.
Okay.
So I covered myself twice every time we were at Fanal and then before Estanquinhos, just to be sure that I didn't got a cold or something like that. So I was careful for that and for the hands, because I know that I have problems with cold hands. So I put some double gloves. So it was like kind of in prevention.
Yeah.
So in this part of the race, I was more careful about these moments, not to ruin my race. That was the biggest objective. Okay. In the first 40K, I think.
For me, looking at sort of like your splits compared to the other men, it seemed like, you just got faster compared to the other men in the race's second half, and maybe that was you pushing at times, or it was just other people slowing down and you having maintained yourself so well in the first half. Like, to what do you attribute the second half of your race?
At least that was my strategy, to be really good in Corral, and from that point to give it all, to really to push in this uphill and to maintain the rhythm between the 2 picos and everything. And then I knew that it was going down the last part. Usually I really love downhills. So I knew that even if I was a bit tired at the end, I could maintain the rhythm. So the strategy was really to be very prevention the first 40K, try to find a good position between 40 and 60, not to be too far, just ask a bit the distances, the gaps, and try to maintain the gaps, so not to lose too much time, and try to come back, or at least to take all the guys that started too fast, you know.
And so it was on the climb from Corral up to Pico Revo that you moved into podium position for the first time, is that right?
Yeah, exactly. I was fifth with the six just behind me in the uphill before Corral.
Okay.
I did a really good downhill, so I just caught Maxime Casajou, who was fourth,
Okay.
just entering the Corral aid station.
Got it.
Then he went out a bit before me. He went out of the aid station, so I was 30 seconds behind him. You saw me on the road, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So I caught him just after in the road,
Okay.
and then we went together until the start of the climb. And then I went alone in the climb, and I knew that Tim was not feeling not so good. I heard that from a Portuguese who was on the track.
Oh.
So I said, okay, I will try to catch him before the Pico River, and I did that, maybe 200 meters elevation before Pico River.
Oh, is that right?
And then at that moment, Tim was not so good. We talked a couple of seconds together just to be sure that he was not bad or something like that. He said, no, okay, just a bad moment. And then he was feeling a bit better because he was staying, you know, like 50, 100 meters behind.
Yeah.
So we had a nice battle distance until Pico River.
Okay.
Then he arrived maybe 20 seconds after me. And then we went between the two picos, and there I felt really good as well. So this climb and between the two picos, I felt really good. So I did a really nice section, and then I didn't see a team behind anymore. But I knew that the end of the... So I was third, and they told me that the two were together.
Uh-huh.
And actually at that moment, I was always looking forward, you know,
Okay.
not thinking behind.
Okay.
I knew that maybe team could be a problem in the last part because it's a very runnable part.
And he's quite a runner, right?
And
Not
he's
quite
a very-
fast, flat runner.
Track and field athlete, which I'm not. And so on that part, I said, okay, I will think about that later. Now I want to try to close the gap because I mean,
Have to
I said,
try.
okay, the win, maybe we can go for the win. And they told me that I was 15 minutes behind in Rivo or something like that. And then in Chao da Lagoa, 12 minutes. So I said, okay, maybe we can try something.
Uh-huh.
And then I tried, but the uphill to Poiso, I felt good, but not so good as before. So I
Okay.
said, okay, maybe be careful because it's still long afterwards. And I knew that Germain was not feeling so good, so François went alone. So I said, okay, maybe Germain, I can take him. So just searching place to place. And when I caught Germain, he was not feeling good.
Had he fallen at
And
that
he
point?
fall. Yeah, I think he cramped and then he fell. He
Okay.
fall and something like that. So then they told me that François opened the gap. He was 20 minutes before. So I knew that it was very hard on the last 17K to come back 1 minute
much
per
time.
kilometers to yeah, for François it's almost impossible. So yeah, I knew that it was like that. And then I started thinking about team behind at that moment because I didn't know. 5-10 minutes, it was, I didn't know. So yeah, that's why.
And you crossed the finish line running really hard. And you said something like, what's the gap now or when's the next man? And then you said, people said it's quite a long time. And you said, I didn't need to go as hard as I did.
Yeah, sure, definitely, because I didn't know. I thought it was 3, 4, 5 minutes behind.
Right
And I know
there.
in this last part you can lose easy 5 minutes,
You can't run hard,
if
right?
you can, if somebody is really strong behind. So that's why I was, like pushing, and yeah, I couldn't enjoy the last parts really. But then, happy. The last 2-3K, I knew that. I mean, I didn't see him behind. I knew that I had a bit of gas still in case we had to fight. So it was okay. So it was better. The last 2-3Ks, it's
Well, that was a great story of your race.
Thanks. Yeah, it was actually a very funny race. I like when you have to mix strategy and of course when you have the legs to do it. It's even better. When you are not feeling good since the beginning, you can have all the strategy you want, you cannot do anything.
When your body's there and you can tell it to go faster, go slower, relax, or push hard,
Yeah.
It's nice to have the body to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I love ultra, because you have a lot of parameters to manage, and I mean I'm enjoying when you can press one button or the other. You know, like it's funny.
Well, congratulations to you
Thanks.
on your second place finish, and we'll see you down the trail.
Yes, definitely. Maybe in 2 weeks, Transvulcania.
Yes, you'll be seeing me there. I'll be seeing you.
But we'll see. I will recover first this week. We'll see.
Okay.
I'm registered. Otherwise, UTMB.
Yeah, fantastic. Congratulations again.
Thanks, Megan.
Woo!
Bye.
Bye.